I'm Michelle Chung. I'm the CEO of Honeybun 1982 Limited. You're watching CBX. That's Caribbean Business Exchange. Your region, your business, your source.
The time by Kyra Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The business news headlines is brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Hello and welcome to CBX Business News for Tuesday, June 3, 2025. I'm Yanil Wood. Thanks for joining us. In the local news, UN Senior Economic Advisor says Jamaica faces significant challenges in achieving its sustainable development goals. Meanwhile, big boost for Jamaica's health and wellness tourism with the launch of the Caribbean Front Desk. And JMMB reports 70% decline in net profit for fiscal year ending March 31, 2025. In regional business news, Central Bank confident in the Bahamas' 2025 growth trajectory amid U.S. policy shifts. Meanwhile, businesses in Antigua urged to implement disaster plans as hurricane season commences. And Belize's Ministry of Health issues urgent warning on royal honey sexual enhancement product. And in international business news, global economic growth to slow to 2.9% in 2025 and 2026, OECD forecasts. Meanwhile, Eurozone inflation slows to 1.9% in May, below expectations. And China's manufacturing sector contracts in May as Caixin PMI falls 48.3. Stay with us. The news in detail right after this break. Caixin.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMax possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMax Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And now, the details. Development Counselor and Senior Economic Advisor at the United Nations UN, Stuart Davies, says Jamaica is facing challenges in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals SDGs by 2030. Davies was speaking recently at the Manufacturer 360-Degree Conference hosted by the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA. He noted that the private sector can play a key role in achieving the SDGs by boosting innovation, increasing productivity, and contributing in other meaningful ways.
So when we look at, and this is very close to my area of work, when we look at the sustainable development achievements, what we're seeing is that Jamaica still has many, many challenges. And I've circled the ones that are actually most closely related to the private sector. And you can see the performance across those particular SDG indicators, the market-oriented ones. And they're ones that you can do something about. They're the ones that, working to increase innovation, to increase complexity, sophistication, productivity, new ideas, new products, you can make a difference over the remaining years of the SDG on those particular goals.
Despite the numerous challenges, Mr. Davis is urging Jamaicans to remain optimistic, highlighting that the country has in fact achieved more to date than many of its Caribbean counterparts.
Let's not be too downbeat, because when we look at Jamaica's performance relative to other countries in the Caribbean, it's actually doing quite well. It's doing better than many in the Caribbean, but it could do better, and the potential is within this room.
Development Counselor and Senior Economic Advisor at UN, Stuart Davies. The latest figures show that Jamaica ranked 4th in the overall SDG score with 69.5, trailing behind Cuba, 76.7, the Dominican Republic, 73.1, and Suriname, 70.0. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets, which were announced September 2015, demonstrate the scale and ambition of the new Universal Agenda and seek to build on the Millennium Development Goals and complete what they did not achieve. The SDGs seek also to realize the human rights of all and to achieve gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. Jamaica's foray in the lucrative health and wellness tourism got another significant boost on May 30 with the official launch of Caribbean Front Desk CFD at the Half Moon Hotel, Rose Hall, St. James. A groundbreaking online platform dedicated to showcasing authentic Caribbean wellness experiences, the CFD was developed as part of the Tourism Enhancement Fund's TEF 2023 Innovation Incubator Challenge. Its aim is to bridge the gap between global travelers seeking holistic health solutions and the region's rich tradition of natural remedies, nutraceuticals, and restorative landscapes. The brainchild of renowned health innovator Dr. Dwayne Chambers, CFD embodies Jamaica's deep-rooted healing tradition and its spirit of innovation. Jamaica is not only a source of healing through its products, but also a healing place itself, Dr. Chambers told the gathering of business interests and medical tourism stakeholders at the launch. Our lush landscapes, mineral springs, and restorative climate create an environment where wellness is woven into the very fabric of the island. CFD aims to connect the world to this natural haven and its authentic health practices, Dr. Chambers noted. For his part, Executive Chairman of TEF Dr. Kerry Wallace emphasized Jamaica's emerging role as a premier destination for medical and wellness tourism. He noted that the Caribbean Front Desk positions Jamaica as a versatile health tourism hub, leveraging the island's unique cultural heritage and natural resources. As noted in Medical and Wellness Tourism in Jamaica by Richard L. Bernal and Henry I. C. Lowe, Jamaica's proximity to North America, coupled with its ability to provide world-class services and facilities at internationally competitive prices in several fields of treatment, gives it an additional advantage in meeting the rapidly growing demand for healthcare, Dr. Wallace noted. In other news, JMMB Group Limited has reported a significant 70% drop in net profit for the financial year ended March 31, with earnings falling to $3.51 billion from $11.54 billion the previous year. The decline was driven largely by increased impairment losses and persistent market volatility. despite a 5.6% rise in total operating revenue, which reached $25.22 billion due to stronger securities trading, fee income, and foreign exchange margins. The group faced substantial impairment losses of $1.9 billion. This impairment, though lower than last year's $12.6 billion charge, continued to weigh heavily on profitability. Investment portfolio volatility remained a major challenge. Auditors KPMG highlighted the significant estimation involved in fair valuing $316.5 billion worth of investment securities, many lacking quoted market prices. Earnings per share dropped from $5.92 to $1.80, while total comprehensive income attributable to shareholders plummeted to $1.23 billion from $16.37 billion, reflecting weaker market conditions and foreign exchange losses across the Caribbean region. The group's assets base grew by 4.5% to $705.5 billion, supported by increases in loans, notes receivable, and cash holdings. Customer deposits rose sharply by 13.2% to $226.3 billion, signaling sustained confidence in JMMB's banking services. However, JMMB's investment in associates showed strains, with a $64.6 million impairment loss tied mainly to its stake in Sagicor Financial Company Limited amid subdued market capitalization. Group CEO Keith Duncan acknowledged the earnings pressure but emphasized the company's resilience and strategic focus on long-term regional growth and digital innovation. A final dividend of 25 cents per share was declared, maintaining returns for shareholders despite the earnings downturn. Now to foreign currency trading news. In Tuesday's currency trading session, the Jamaican dollar lost against its U.S. counterpart, selling at a high of $160.33. The Canadian at $116.81, the pound for $215.21, while $183.48 was the going rate for the euro. Up next, trading news from the Jamaica Stock Exchange. 113 stocks traded on the JSE Tuesday, of which 41 advanced, 55 declined, and 17 traded firm. Leading the winners today were ISP Finance Services, One Great Studio Company, JMMB Group 9.50%, and Jamaica Public Service 7%. Leading the losers were Margaritaville Turks, A.S. Bryden and Sons Holdings, 138 Student Living Jamaica, and Main Event Entertainment. Now the main index declined by 4,099.91 points, or 1.26%, to close at 320,380.12. The junior market index also declined, but by 29.32, or 0.84%, to close at 3,474.84. Now to some company news. The Jamaica Stock Exchange, in keeping with the Junior Market Rule Appendix 2, Part 4, 2E, unaudited and annual financial statements, has suspended trading in the ordinary shares of Edufocal Limited, trading as Learn, pending the submission of its 2024 audited financial statements. The company's 2024 audited financial statements, due on March 1, became 93 days overdue on June 2. And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CariChris, Regional Ratings, Global. In today's Market Education Feature, we will be zooming in on the term ergonomics. Ergonomics, also known as human factors, is the study of people in their working environments. It focuses on designing safe, comfortable, and efficient workplaces. Examples include adjustable chairs and desks, good lighting, keyboard trays, and headsets. When workers are physically at ease, stress is reduced and focus improves, boosting productivity and overall business performance. The Market Education feature was brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. And that's it for Market Education feature and the end of the local segment. Please stay with us. The regional business news is up next.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
Me grew up and see my granny and save her money under her mattress.
Exactly.
Okay.
Your grandmother house never burned down?
No, how you reach that, so? That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
Alright, because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit of your financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today. I called them, they listened to my concerns and my fears, and they gave me the answers. All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This is one of the best decisions I have ever made in business. If you want to change the trajectory of your business and to grow, make that call today to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You will be glad you did.
Hi, I'm Nielsen Rose, host of Let's Talk Stocks, reminding you that health is indeed wealth and time is really money. Why not spend a little time with us? Weekday mornings, 9 to 9:30 a.m. for your daily dose of business, economic, and investment insights.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-923-5111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today.
FESCO started from 5 shareholders who believed that they could execute a fuel company as good as or as better than any multinational.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances. I have seen that our company has expanded tremendously after being listed.
Our experience so far has translated into additional customers.
Being listed on the stock exchange allows us a certain prestige. It also speaks to accountability and transparency.
Our transparency has allowed us to access credit easier and at better rates.
We have expanded in terms of our customer base, in terms of our suppliers.
All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
So if you're a private company thinking about growing your profits, having better access to capital, I really think you should consider listing on the junior or the main market.
You may have fears in listing on the main market or the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Whatever those fears are, we can help you to allay them. Give us a call today. Our friendly professional staff will help you through the process. Let us have that conversation. Give us that call.
Go ahead, have that conversation as soon as possible. We did it and we're very happy.
Make that call now.
You will be glad you did.
Hurricane safety tips from CBX. Please ensure your safety during the hurricane season by diligently following these tips. Store a 4 to 5 day supply of non-perishable ready-to-eat food. Ensure you have materials for securing doors and windows. See that galvanized sheeting on your roofs, outbuildings, and fences are securely fastened. Trim trees with branches near to the buildings or electrical lines. Keep a hurricane lamp burning as it may make the night more tolerable. Listen to the radio for information on what's happening. Be sure to understand the hurricane warning system. Have on hand simple first aid supplies. Keep plastic bags, nails, hammer, and other tools handy. Do not go outside unless it's absolutely necessary. These are hurricane tips from CBX. Be safe.
It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Don't never, ever, ever wanna calm down. Oh, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today. I called them, they listened to my concerns and my fears, and they gave me the answers. All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This is one of the best decisions I have ever made in business. If you want to change the trajectory of your business and to grow, make that call today to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You will be glad you did.
Hi, I'm Nielsen Rose, host of Let's Talk Stocks, reminding you that health is indeed wealth and time is really money. Why not spend a little time with us? Weekday mornings, 9 to 9:30 a.m. for your daily dose of business, economic, and investment insights.
Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSD Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. The Central Bank of the Bahamas says the country remains on track for economic growth in 2025, even as shifting U.S. trade and economic policies introduce a degree of uncertainty. Speaking on the current outlook, Central Bank Governor John Roll acknowledged that forecasts remain fluid, but emphasized there is still no expectation of a downturn.
I anticipate that the range of possibility for the Bahamas is that we could see the outcome growth-wise this year in line with what we initially expected, or we can see it above that if there are favorable diversion of economic activity to the Bahamas, or if the uncertainties in the United States get more extreme, you could see the growth levels being much lower than originally forecasted. But there's still an overall expectation that the economy will grow this year. So there's no negative forecast at this point. But these are forecasts. That's important to understand.
The Bahamas is keeping a close eye on potential ripple effects, particularly in its critical tourism sector.
At the end of April, we are in the peak of the tourism season. So some of the adjustments as regards what's going on in the U.S. and how it's impacting tourism, we're going to be experiencing that, whether it's a positive or a negative, over the first half of the year and into the early part of the summer. And so from that point of view, one has to expect that if there are any upside potential There's talk, for example, that we could see some benefits from diversion of travel to destination like the Bahamas. Want us to appreciate that while that's an upside potential, the logistics around that also need to be in place. And so when we start to monitor those trends, we should begin to look at how the airlift into the Bahamas is adjusting, if at all, to the upside.
Governor of the Central Bank of Bahamas, John Roll. We go now to news from Antigua and Barbuda. As the new hurricane season kicks off, Antigua's Office of Disaster Services is calling on individuals, businesses, and government departments to develop and maintain comprehensive disaster plans. Speaking at a recent press conference on Monday, Preparedness and Response Manager at the National Office of Disaster Services, Anderson Tewitt, emphasized that having a written and well-understood disaster response strategy is critical to safeguarding livelihoods and ensuring continuity and natural hazards, natural hazards.
Part of our plans when we ask of persons or departments, businesses to have their disaster plans, and that is very key. We are asking persons out there to contact us here at the National Office of Disaster Services so we can fine-tune your plans if you have any. If you don't have any, we can work with you.
Mr. Tewitt also emphasized that every member of the organization must not only be aware of the disaster plan, but also fully understand their individual roles to ensure a coordinated and effective response.
The focus must be on the disaster plans. It must be written. It must be known by all persons in the organization. We've come across persons who say, yes, I have a disaster plan. But does the cleaner know it? Do the last person that joined the organization, do they know it? So when we say have a plan, it's not just to have it and it's on a shelf. It's for every employee, every worker within the organization to know what it is and what part they play when it comes to disaster management. Because if we're saying there's a pending storm, everyone in the office must know what role they play, who's to cover the computers, who has to move that. So it is very important. It starts with having that plan.
Preparedness and Response Manager at the National Office of Disaster Services, Anderson Tewitt. In other news, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, MOHW, in Belize has issued a public health advisory urging citizens to avoid purchasing or consuming a product labeled Royal Honey, marketed as a natural sexual enhancement supplement. This warning follows laboratory analyses by the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and Costa Rica's Ministry of Health, which confirmed the presence of undeclared pharmaceutical ingredients in the product. These ingredients may be dangerous, especially for individuals with underlying health conditions or those taking prescription medications, the MOHW cautioned. Royal Honey is falsely advertised as a natural supplement and is mainly sold through online platforms and informal vendors. The ministry is urging Belizeans to only purchase health products from licensed pharmacies or authorized distributors. It also strongly discourages buying medications or supplements from social media, street vendors, or other unregulated sources. The FDA noted that Royal Honey VIP was discovered during routine inspections of international mail and may dangerously interact with nitrate-based drugs, putting individuals with diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure at even greater risk. Consumers who come across Royal Honey or similar products are encouraged to report them to the authorities. It's now time for trading news from the TTSE. 20 securities traded on the TTSE Tuesday, of which 5 advanced, 9 declined, and 6 traded firm. Leading the winners were Guardian Media, Prestige Holdings, Massey Holdings, and Ansa McCall, while the losers were led by JMB Group, National Flour Mills, NCB Financial Group, and Guardian Holdings. Other results of the day include the All-TNT Index declining by 2.87 to close at 1,528.52. The Composite Index declining by 3.96 to close at 1,041.77. And the Cross-Listed Index also declined, but by 0.72 to close at 72.91. And still remaining at 91.76 is the SME Index. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment with Nielsen Rose is up next.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
It smells so good right now. Feels so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It feels so good right now. Feels so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It feels so good right now. Don't never, ever, ever wanna calm down. No, no, no.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. In the international news today, the global economy is projected to slow in 2025 and 2026, with growth expected at 2.9% in both years, down from 3.3% in 2024, according to the OECD. The organization attributes the weaker outlook to rising global uncertainty, largely driven by shifting U.S. trade policies under President Donald Trump. The report warns that additional trade barriers could further hinder growth, lower incomes, and slow job creation. In the U.S., growth is forecasted to drop to 1.6% this year from 3.3% in 2024 due to the impact of tariffs, reduced immigration, and cuts to government employment. Mexico and Canada are also expected to experience a slower growth because of their strong trade ties to the U.S. The OECD notes that higher trade costs, especially in countries imposing new tariffs, will likely push inflation higher. However, this effect may be partially offset by weaker commodity prices. While inflation is easing in many regions, services prices remains persistently high. The report also emphasizes the need for careful management of rising government spending, particularly in defense. Eurozone consumer inflation eased to 1.9% year-on-year in May, down from 2.2% in April and below the projections of 2% according to preliminary data. This marks the first time inflation has dipped below the European Central Bank's 2% target since September 2024, strengthening expectations for a 25 basis points rate cut later this week and potentially more to follow. The slowdown was largely driven by a sharp drop in services inflation, which fell to 3.2% from 4%, its lowest level since March 2022. Energy prices continued to decline, down 3.6% year-on-year, while inflation for non-energy industrial goods remained steady at 0.6%. In contrast, prices for food, alcohol, and tobacco rose by 3.3%, up from 3% in April. Core inflation, which excludes food and energy costs, eased to 2.3%, the lowest since January 2022. China's manufacturing sector contracted in May, with the Caixin General Manufacturing PMI falling to 48.3 from 50.4 in April, missing market expectations of 50.6. This marks the first contraction in 8 months and the sharpest decline since September 2022. Output shrank for the first time in 19 months and the fastest pace since November 2022, while new orders dropped at their steepest rate since 2022. Foreign sales also declined to their lowest levels since July 2023, reflecting persistent uncertainty in global trade. Employment continued to fall, purchasing activity weakened, and supplier delivery times lengthened slightly. On the pricing front, input costs dropped for the third straight month due to lower energy prices and for raw materials. Output prices also declined for the sixth consecutive month amid intense competition. Despite the downturn, business confidence improved, supported by optimism over potential improvement in trade conditions. In a major policy reversal, the U.S. Department of Education has announced a suspension of plans to garnish social benefits from individuals who have defaulted on federal student loans. This decision comes just 2 weeks after the department had indicated that such collections would resume as early as June. The move offers relief to hundreds of thousands of older Americans who depend on Social Security as a primary source of income. The department confirmed that no benefits have been garnished since collections resumed on May 5, and all future offsets have now been paused. This shift follows an April announcement by the Trump administration, which had planned to restart collection efforts that had been suspended since March 2020 due to the pandemic-related relief measures. Under the original plan, up to 15% of a recipient's Social Security check could have been withheld to repay a student loan debt. A spokesperson for the department emphasized the administration's commitment to protecting seniors and others on fixed incomes. In the coming weeks, the department will begin proactive outreach to help borrowers explore affordable repayment options and return to good standing, the spokesman said. While the pause provides a temporary relief for Social Security recipients, it does not extend to other forms of debt collection. The department is continuing to pursue wage garnishments and tax refund seizures for borrowers in default. Advocacy groups have welcomed the decision, arguing that garnishing Social Security benefits places an unfair burden on vulnerable populations. However, they caution that the relief may be short-lived and are urging the administration to consider permanent protections. And those were your international business stories. After the break, join Yanil for your recap.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today.
Fesco started from 5 shareholders who believe that they could execute a fuel company as good as or as better than any multinational.
Caribbean flavors and fragrances. I have seen that our company has expanded tremendously after being listed.
Our experience so far has translated into additional customers.
Being listed on the stock exchange allows us a certain prestige. It also speaks to accountability and transparency.
Our transparency has allowed us to access credit easier and at better rates.
We have expanded in terms of our customer base, in terms of our suppliers.
All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
So if you're a private company thinking about growing your profits, having better access to capital, I really think you should consider listing on the junior or the main market.
You may have fears in listing on the main market or the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Whatever those fears are, we can help you to allay them. Give us a call today. Our friendly professional staff will help you through the process. Let us have that conversation. Give us that call.
Go ahead, have that conversation as soon as possible. We did it and we're very happy.
Make that call now.
You will be glad you did.
Hurricane safety tips from CBX. Please ensure your safety during the hurricane season by diligently following these tips. Store a 4 to 5 day supply of non-perishable ready-to-eat food. Ensure you have materials for securing doors and windows. See that galvanized sheeting on your roofs, outbuildings, and fences are securely fastened. Trim trees with branches near to the buildings or electrical lines. Keep a hurricane lamp burning as it may make the night more tolerable. Listen to the radio for information on what's happening. Be sure to understand the hurricane warning system. Have on hand simple first aid supplies. Keep plastic bags, nails, hammer, and other tools handy. Do not go outside unless it's absolutely necessary. These are hurricane tips from CBX. Be safe.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back. And now a recap of the stories making today's CBX Evening News. UN Senior Economic Advisor says Jamaica faces significant challenges in achieving SDGs. And JMMB's net profit dropped 70% for the financial year ended March 31. In regional business news, Bahamas maintains positive growth outlook amid U.S. uncertainty. And Belize's government issues urgent warning on dangerous royal honey product. And internationally, OECD says global economic growth to slow to 2.9% in 2025 and 2026. And Eurozone inflation slows to 1.9% in May. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of Nielsen Rose and the entire production team, I'm Yanil Wood, thanking you for joining us, and do have a peaceful evening.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
I am Shelly Leon. You're watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
Okay, I just sent the money. I'll WhatsApp you the tracking number.
Thanks, Daddy. I can't wait to buy that PS5.
Listen to me. Your birthday money is not just for spending. Remember what I told your mom? Remember to open the bank account immediately after collecting the money. Your mom has her ID, TRN, proof of address, proof of income, and your school ID.
I'm not an adult yet, so mommy will have to open the account with me.
Yes. Anyways, I'm headed back to work, so call me later. I love you guys.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
The Caribbean Business Exchange now presents a regional feature. BOJ's Centrally Speaking. Do enjoy.
Welcome back to another program of Centrally Speaking.
The program that opens up the conversation around important matters of economics and finance, matters of national importance that have an impact on your life. I'm Sheena.
And I'm Anna. Glad you could join us again. And welcome aboard to those of you who are joining for the very first time. Lots of technical long, but we invite you to stay with us.
We have a great show lined up for you because in today's program, we will again be speaking with Marie.